first item under acquisition is actually something that council has already approved, which is providing loan mediation services for the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, so that if someone is upside down on their home, when they go through the acquisition process, and it's actually Horizons is who we have that contract with. We can have someone from Horizons contact those lien or mortgage holders and explain the program and indicate that this is the bottom line. It's an all or nothing, and work with them to get that paid and done. Because again, at the end of the day, the city has to have clear title, or they're not eligible for the acquisition. So very important. The next item is the flood insurance premium reimbursement. City Council has already approved that through the administrative plan for property owners who have flood insurance and are going through the acquisition program. This would provide up to 5 years of flood insurance premium reimbursement for those folks. Under acquisition number C, and that is the being able to use local funds to acquire those properties that were privately demolished. So not the ones that the city identified as imminent threat, those are still eligible. But for those property owners who did not want the liability of having that flooded house there and took the initiative to demolish it, unfortunately the federal interpretation of that, it is now mitigated and they won't pay for the structure. So this would be the local funds to do that. The next item is acquisition of properties damaged less than 60%. So the city used in the neighborhood revitalization area that 60% of pre-flood assessed value as the minimum for qualifying for acquisition. And the reason we use that is because the Jumpstart rehabilitation program could serve anyone that had damage up to that limit. So we wanted to make sure if you didn't qualify for rehab, you would qualify for an acquisition. The next item is, again, we had talked about before, those folks that are kind of upside down on their home. So they have more mortgage and liens than the offer price will cover. And this item is just showing on there that that gap will occur. Where, you know, everything we've been told is that will occur. The next item is replacement housing assistance. And again, this is a very complicated one, and it's not fully, we don't have all the guidelines on the CDBG side, but basically what the state has said is, and HUD has agreed to, is in addition to the value of your home, you are also eligible for up to $25,000 in replacement housing assistance. So, yeah, and there's all kinds of things. It depends on, the first one here that's important is that comes with the federal requirement that you have to be less than 100% of the area median income, which is that number set by HUD based on this specific metro area and the number of family members, or the number of number in the household. There's also, you know, other things that go into that, but the basic question for council is, on this one, is there a desire to use local funds to make it consistent, so that all flood impacted people receive up to $25,000, so it's not based on the income. The next one is about, it's a contract seller situation, and the federal interpretation is if you were a contract seller, your contract buyer at the time had, and Rita has the better language for this.
Yeah, if the property was being sold under contract at the time of the flood, the definition by Iowa law is that the owner at the time of the flood then would be the contract purchaser. is called equitable title. The contract seller holds bare legal title. So they're no more than a mortgage holder in a sense, in the eyes of the Iowa law. So what has happened, if there is a real estate contract on the property at the time of the flood, the contract purchaser is the legal owner of the property at the time of the flood. The flood happens, the contract purchaser, in most cases, in some cases, not all cases, if they have defaulted on their loan, they have gone away. And therefore, the contract seller is now the post owner.
The next item is increasing the replacement housing assistance. And this was put on specifically based on input from service providers who have just indicated there are a number of people, especially the elderly population, that cannot go out and get a new mortgage, cannot go out to a private financial institution and get that mortgage. So this item would be just to increase the up to $25,000 to help get enough equity into the home for them to be able to purchase. And the final item is acquisition of those properties that end up just either neglected or a nuisance. I hate to say abandoned because I guess that has other legal issues with it. So, but those properties where they're not registered for the voluntary property acquisition, but at some point are going to impact neighbors who have reinvested.